Doosh. Let's see what we got here. Ha! There we go. Now we're on. I've got tools and wood. I'm only doing this jig because, well, I've got a little job that I need this jig for. And I have another jig, but I thought, why not make one? Now, there's another friend of mine that wants to make the same thing, but he's probably going to do his a little bit different than mine. This is my take on it, and this is just the cheap way, the budget way of just using what you have lying around, not going to the store and really buying anything, just utilizing what you have. But he's feeling a little sick and he's just having a hard time, so my wishes and prayers go out to him. I'm talking about souls. He's just not his he still hasn't gotten over his pneumonia, but he's trucking along, he's plugging out, and he's sticking in there with us. So when he gets better and he starts feeling more healthy, I hope he gets around to making his jigs and his templates and that. But anyways, we're gonna do a tapering jig. We're just gonna use some scraps that we have lying around and stuff that I just have lying around here. For my knobs, we're gonna make our knobs, and for our bolts for our knobs, we're actually gonna use some structural screws that have a nice big flange on it. We're gonna use a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and another strip of 3/4 inch plywood to assemble it. And you are going to need a router for this. You're going to need a square, a drill, and some drill bits. And I'll go through it as we go along. But anyways, to start, what I wanted to do is come in 2 inches from the outside, 3 inches from the outside, mark a straight line. Okay, that's where the center of my router bit's going to go. So I take my router bit and I drop it down without turning it on until it touches the board. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll kind of eyeball it to the center. I'll take my square. You can either use clamps or do what I did. I just used screws. I'm going to take my board. That's going to be my guide edge, my straight edge, and I square it up to where I want it. Put a screw here and a screw here to hold it down, or you can use clamps if you want. And make sure that whatever you're working on is secure. Now, for my router bit, for my first pass, I'm using my 5/16 straight cut. And I'm going to do a couple passes. I'm going to do this by eye. I'm not going to really put a whole lot of thought into it. I'm going to do a couple passes and route it out. So it will look like what we have over here. It's going to be a nice double groove. Then I'm going to switch the router bit. It's really simple, really easy. So turn your volume down. It's about to get noisy. And here we go. Okay, that was our first pass. Now we're going to change our rotor bit out to my 3/4. So we can do another pass. So here we go. I'll get my wrenches. I'm going to put my wrenches. There they are. Change out the bit. Remove the battery from the tool. Always be safe. Always be smart. We're going to change out our bit. Now, this one here, you're going to want to set your depth for this bit here. I've already got my router bit set up because I wanted to go halfway through my material, halfway depth. So you're going to set your router bit up so it has a positive stop halfway through. We're going to do that. Oh, do, do, dee, do. Do, dee, do, 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 do. Hey, 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 hey. Come on. Hey, hey. Make sure she's good and taut. Not over tight, just tight. Now, I'm going to find my depth. So I'm going to come down to where my half my material is, right about there. I'm going to double check with what I've already done. That's beautiful. Perfect. Now, I'm going to take my depth stop. I'm going to set it in place. And I'm going to adjust it so that's where it bottoms out. Okay? That's where it's going to bottom out. I'm using my little depth stop here on the router to set my maximum depth. Lock it in, release it, install the battery. Once again, turn the volume down, it's going to get noisy. And there we go. We're done with the router. We've got that taken care of now. Now I can remove my screws. And remove this board. Now we're going to go on to making a knob. Nope, get in there. And you're going to do that on both ends of the board, both ends of your board. Now, rule of thumb is make it about the same width as your table saw top. Okay, make it about the same width as your table saw top. So there you go. This is what it's going to look like. That's upside down. Now we put it up right side up. Okay, now we got our base made. Now we're going to make ourselves a knob. Get this clamped down. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 7/8 hole saw. Okay, we're going to take that, put that in the drill, chuck her up. Okay, we're going to start it. Now we're going to stop because our bolt is bigger than the hole, so we need it to go over. I'm going to go go with a bolt, a drill bit that's the same size as our lag bolt that we're going to use. And I'm going to go through the center of this hole all the way through. So you can't do this after you cut it all the way through. So there we go. That's done. Go back to the hole saw. And let's get her through. There we go. That's done. So now we got that made. Just got to get her out of there. There's our bottom piece of our knobby. Now we're going to make the knobby. For the knobby, where did I put the hole saw? Where did I put the bigger hole saw? It was here. Where did I put the bigger hole saw? I just had a damn thing. I just had it. Oh, where did you go? Where did I put? Oh no, it fell on the ground. That's where it is. It fell down on the ground. Let's pick her up. So for my knobby, I'm using my 2 1/8. Now we're going to do this one. We're going to suck it up. I'm going to get it in there. I'm just going to get it set out. Pull it out. I'm going to take my Forstner bit. I got my 1/2 inch Forstner bit. You can use a 1/2 inch drill bit if you want. And I'm going to find 3 points, roughly even apart. And I'm putting my drill bit in the center of the ring, so that way it cuts a half circle. Okay. And I'm not going all the way through because I'm going to flip it over to finish the cuts. So I'm going to do 3 little half moons. And come here. I'm going to pilot these ones through so I can line it up. I'm going to flip it over. Flip her over. Clamp her down. Put my 1/2 inch Forstner back in. And drill those ones through. Nice. Get that one through. That one's through. That one's through. Now we're going to go back to the hole saw and cut it out. Then we're going to have a nice little knobby. We like making little knobbies. Here we go. Oh, come on, you little guy. Your battery dead? Almost. There we go. Now, a nice little knobby. Now we got our knobbies made. We'll do make 2 sets of those. And those are our knobbies. Now we're going to take our structural lag here, and we got to make it so that way it fits in this little track here. But we need it so that way it's got flat edge so it can't spin. How we're going to do that is we're going to use a grinder. We're going to use a grinder. Now, I recommend that you clamp it down in a vise or something like that. I don't have my vise here, so do not do it this way. Do not do it this way, please. Please clamp it down. Keep my fingers safe. I'm going to keep it over here. And all I'm going to do is flatten it out. That's pretty good. Now, flip it back over this way, we got to get these in there. The thread's bigger than the bottom shaft, so we're going to use our bigger drill bit again to open up one end so we can get it in there. Do-do-do-do-do. There we go. Now we should be able to get it in there. Do-do-do-do-do. Look at that. It's in there nice. Goody, goody, goody. I got to trim a little bit more off one end. Take a little bit more off one end. Do-do-do-do-do. That will work. You just take a little bit at a time. So you want to make sure that lands in there nice and centered, so it can move freely without twisting. So we got those now. Those are taken care of. Now we need our top piece. We got our knobbies. We got our hardware. That's all done and taken care of. So, the next thing that you're going to do, you're going to take a strip of solid wood. You're not going to use MDF particle board. You're going to get some solid fir or something. You're going to make a strip that fits in your track or your saw snug and at the right height. And we'll attach that later. So we rip this down to the size that we need and we're ready. So that's taken care of. Let's clean off the table saw. And let's see what we got here. Where did I put my guard? There. Let's put the table saw guard back on. Let's put the riving knife up. Lock the riving knife, put it up. Lock it in place. There we go. Put the plate back on. And I want a 2.5 inch chunky for this. Let's set the table saw to 2.5 inches. Good. Let's get ourselves a piece of our plywood. Now, you want it to be just a little bit longer than our piece. We'll just eyeball it up and we'll put a mark on there. Eyeball it up just a little bit bigger. About an inch on both ends will be more than good. We'll cut that. We will cut that. And miter slot. Get in there. Bring it up. Right there. Good. And there we go. We got that taken care of. Now we want to do our assembly. So we'll pop rubbing it out of the way. Plate back on. Take the blade all the way down so we get a nice work table to work on. Now we're going to take our strip and put it on there. And we want it ahead a little bit, by about 4 inches ahead. I'm going to put a mark here. I know where it roughly is. I'm going to bring my table saw up. Take our bolts or hardware out first. And I'm going to set it up like this, tight. I can see where my board is. I'm going to countersink a couple holes. Put some screws in. Let's drill this out. One. Here. And I got one right here. I've got another one right here. There we go. I got my holes drilled. And I can fasten it. I'm going to get my screws, my little tiny screws. First, I'm going to countersink them so the screws sit flush. There, like that. Very good. And my little screws. Put my Edo screws out here. My Edo screws. And I need my drilling bits now. One screw here. And this one. There we go, we got that. Now we're going to take our board, flip it upside down here. And eyeball it out, and with that same, the larger bit that we're using, that's bigger than the bolt hole, we're going to put some holes to line it up. So we want it in the center of this board. The center of this board as we can. So I'm going to eyeball it out. That's 1, 2. Now we'll drill them through. 1, 2. Now let's assemble. Let's grab our little bolties that we made. Get them in there. One's in there. Get these lined up. And on. There we go. And we'll take our knobbies that we made. Put these ones over. This is over top. That one over top. Then we just get these threaded on. Nice and snuggly wuggly as a bugly and a rugly. There, that's snugged up real nice. Let's get this one done. Look at that. We now have an adjustable tapering jig. We can loosen them off, get it set up to where we need it. Get down there. Oh, I didn't file it down. Yeah, I should have filed it down. Oh, I see what's going on. There we go. That's better. There we go. We can adjust her to the taper that we need. So let's do a little test cut here. I'm gonna taper it like this. Yeah, that's snug down, tight, tight, tight. Look at that. That's tight. Let's grab a piece of scrap here. Now the only thing that I haven't figured out, because I haven't gone through my stuff, we need to find a way of clamping this down so our hands are safe and clear from it. It's the only thing I haven't thought about, and I'm thinking about that. I'll probably make a follow-up video on that. But you can buy little clamps, but I was thinking of just getting some aluminum, heating up a bit, bending it, and maybe putting a rubber end on it, and just using another little homemade knobby. But let's just see how well this works as carefully as we can. That works pretty good, actually. I'm quite happy with it. Look at that. Simple little thing. Didn't go to the store. I'm going to trim these off a little bit with the grinder. That way I don't have sharp pokies because they don't need to be that long. There, we've got a tapering jig. We've got a funky little tapering jig that we can use. I just got to find a better way of securing this down. I got to figure something out for that. What do we have? I have an idea. What is this? I wonder. Just pondering. I think I'm going to put a stop on this end. I'm going to cut this short and put a stop on this so I have something for it to sit on, to push against. And we might be able to use an old thin saw blade. Might be able to make it use an old thin saw blade. Might be able to do that. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim this back a little bit. I'm going to put a nice little stop on this. There we go. And that will work fine. And do that. Let's just get me a piece of this. I think that will work. Do that because that will give me a stop. A nice little guide. So I'm going to cut this. Find drill and drill bits. Countersink. Where'd my countersink go? Let's put that in. A couple screws on that. I need my countersink. Where did the countersink go? Where did I put it? Had it. It was here. I can't find it now. Oh, where did I put you, my little countersinker? There we go. That one will work. Oh, it's right in front of me. Look at it. It's right there in front of me. Let's get this attached to the face. Vertically here, so I can eyeball her up. Nice and fleshy flush. And overhanging or too thick. I'm going to put this here like that. Let's get a screw. There's a nice little screw for this. And let's see. 2, 3, 4. We'll do 4. Do 4. Get back here, Bennett. Put you in there. Like that. One. Do another one. Let's get the countersink back in there. One there. And let's go and get some screws in this thing. There you go. Now we got a little guard fence to put stuff up against. And set our boards. I just gotta get something to clamp her down with. I gotta get some more thought to that. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. Now let's do another test. There we go. And that's a success. We have a tapering plate. Just using scraps and random stuff lying around. We made our own knobbies. We made our own hardware. We did good. So there you guys go. Don't need to spend lots of money. You can use stuff that's just lying around and build stuff. Get yourself going. Now, I've got a DIY. Quick and easy, and these knobs work pretty good actually. They tighten down pretty nice. The nice coarse thread of those lag bolts really worked. Pretty simple, and I can do pretty big pieces with this. So there you go, my friends. There you go. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you like it. That's it. That's that. That's all. I love you all. And I'll catch you all on the flip side.